So I come from the school of thought where how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if I'm talking to a client and they're giving me a little slice of the pie of how things are going, like in their relationship with their mom, and I can see how they're showing up, most likely that's a pattern for them across all their different areas. So while I agree with you that there's like different ways to grow in all of those areas, I think that if you're looking, there's so many people out there that want to talk to a business coach and only a business coach. And I'm like, if you don't do the work on yourself, nothing's going to change in the business. And so I think we may be disagreeing. Uh-oh.
I don't know. See, this is where I kind of view it. I view it that, I don't know, I kind of put everything in silos. And I was taught that from I wouldn't say young age, but my mid-20s. So it's been a little bit over a decade, to where in my previous marriage, my boss, Mike, he was amazing. And he was like, hey, I could tell when you were fighting with your then wife. And I'm like, how? He's like, well, your team would have sales. Now you're going to go home and guess what? You still got problems. You're still fighting with her. And you got more problems because now you ain't got no more money either. And so what he had taught me to do was how to separate the two of those, to where when I go into work, I'm in work mode. When I am, not working, then I am in personal mode. Now, I do agree that there is crossover. And this is one thing that I actually teach my current team right now. It's like, hey, how I treat you, how I manage you, that's the same way that I manage our base clients. That's the same way that I manage our prospects. I am totally transparent on the board as far as my basic personality, but that's still, I think, different than, that's my baseline personality, which does cross over into the professional sector as well too. Does that make sense?
It does.
Did I win you over a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. See? So I want to ask you, one of the big things, and this is hard right now, is goals. Everybody knows you have to have goals. Okay. They're the foundation for any type of growth. Okay. But we're in a time right now where it's hard. I mean, depending where you live and how lockdowns are or aren't with this current COVID situation, everything is either a big blur because every day feels the same, or, maybe you're in a place that's a little bit more freer and it's just life is normal. But, in places we went through this with my 18-year-old, he, kind of just disappeared, forgot about playing to college, even though I was reminding him every single day. And, even though you have that goal, it's kind of like you forget about it. How do you stay on top of goals and still keep the inspiration to move forward when we're in this COVID-like environment?
Oh my gosh, that is the best question. Seriously.
You're definitely going to come back a second time.
I could probably talk about this for the rest of the podcast and you'd have to interrupt me over and over.
Oh, go ahead.
It's a great question, because I think what you've hit on is like people, it is really hard right now. And we have to sort of let ourselves off the hook a little bit where and when we can. So, I think that a lot of people are experiencing like the lack of motivation, the lack of inspiration around things. And that what I know to be true about myself, and, I'm a coach, so I have to be always thinking about my clients' goals, about the goals of my startup, which are many, LUMO started during a pandemic too. So we've got our own goals. I think the first most important thing
this podcast started during the pandemic as well.
Did it really?
It was because, and I'll tell you this just real quick because it'll take 10 seconds, but we started because once I realized like, oh my God, this flatten the curve 2-week thing, not happening like they're saying, and this is going to go on. I've got to find another way to be able to network and meet with people. And I thought digital networking was like blah at that time.